All right, well, good morning. Welcome to our morning devotions. It's Wednesday, March 25. Good to see everybody this morning. We are in First Chronicles chapter 20. It's only 8 verses. I entitled this Defeating the Philistines. There's 3 specific references to these Philistine giants that David's men kill. All right, but what is most impressive about this is there is 2 contrasts in this portion of scripture that are just blatant. The chronicler speaks favorably, very favorably of David. And so the first contrast is, and what we would expect, is that this is the parallel passage to this is in 2 Samuel chapter 11. And this is when David should have gone out to battle. He stays home. And this is where the sin with Bathsheba and the murder of Uriah happened. When you read this in 2 Samuel, this is the time when that transpires. When you get to the chronicler in 1 Chronicles chapter 20, there's no reference to this. And that is probably one of the most profound illustrations of the point I've been trying to make. There's no need as the Spirit of God is leading the chronicler to write this, to repeat what happened with David. And so it's omitted here. If all you had was the Chronicles, you would never know about that episode that took so much material back in 2 Samuel 11. I mean, in the whole story and everything that unfolds from that. There's nothing in 1 Chronicles in regards to David's sin with Bathsheba or the murder of Uriah. So that we expect in this passage. The contrast that we don't expect here is that when they take the city of the capital of the Ammonites, which is Rabbah, there is in verse 3 one of the most horrific verses in regards to what in my Thompson Chain Reference Bible says is the horrors of war. The horrors of war and what appears to be just straight up torture, all right, or death by just horrible means, all right? So you would think that if you're going to relieve David of the events with Bathsheba and Uriah, that you would relieve David of this account of these horrors of war. But that's not what you get from the chronicler. You get nothing about Bathsheba and Uriah, and you get David in battle with what we're going to read here in verse 3, which is just horrible, all right? Absolutely horrible. So you just don't want to second guess what the Holy Spirit's going to write. That's the thing. And we take it as it comes, and we just teach it the way it comes, right? And so we're just going to start in. It's only 8 verses. And then the rest of the passages, 3 different conflicts, battles with the Philistines, where the Israelis kill off these giants, all right, in each of these battles. There's 3 references to that at different times. So let's begin in verse 1. And it came to pass that after the year was expired, at the time that the kings go out to battle, and that is almost a quote from 2 Samuel 11, Joab led forth the power of the army and wasted the country of the children of Ammon and came and besieged Rabbah. All right, and there you have it. This is what we already have recorded. And also the next verse, this next section, it says, but David tarried at Jerusalem. And that is the occasion that David had to spy or to look and see Bathsheba, which prompted the adultery and the murder. That happens right here, but not in 1 Chronicles. He says, but David tarried at Jerusalem, and Joab smote Rabbah and destroyed it. That is, he goes up against the capital city of the Amorites, and he destroys it. He takes it and destroys it. And then it says in verse 2, and David took the crown of their king from off his head and found it to weigh a talent of gold. That is, it was huge. And there were precious stones in it, and it was set upon David's head. So he takes the crown of the king of the city they've just destroyed. It's huge. It's gold. It's set with jewels. and now David is wearing it as the victor, all right, which just ties in with the other things that we've been reading about. David is basically a military man. These are the spoils of war. These are the enemies of Israel, and so they defeat or they destroy the capital city, and David takes the king's crown. And it says he brought also exceeding much spoil out of the city. They sacked the city, which is what you do. You take everything of value there and you add it to your coffers, all right? And so this is just the practice of war. So far, this is what we read in other places. And then we get to verse 3. And he brought out the people that were in it. Now, the thing about this is it doesn't appear that these are the soldiers. All right. I mean, I could get into it in more detail, but the way it's presented here, these are just the Amorites, okay? The Ammonites, and it said, and this is what it says. And I'll just read it to you because it's all in the Bible. I told you when I started this 311 sessions ago, I was going to read to you whatever was there. I wasn't going to skip over everything. So if anybody asks you, did this happen? Well, you can say, yeah, this happened. And can we explain it? No, we just say that was the practice, and they are in a time of war. But this is what we see. And he brought out the people that were in it and cut them with saws, and with harrows of iron, which would have been like things that you would have cultivated in. The idea of a harrow is just something with an edge, so it could be like something like whatever they were using for an ancient plow or a hoe or something like that, a shovel, okay? That's the idea, but they're made out of iron, and they would have been able to cut, okay, and slice. So it was saws with harrows of iron and with axes. Harrows of iron, saws, and axes, all right? And they cut them with saws, harrows, and axes. Even so dealt David with all the cities of the children of Ammon, and David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. That is, it doesn't say that David actually did this, but he is the king, and this has all been attributed to David. So the adultery and the murder are omitted, and this, what you do to the Ammonites here, is included in the same chapter. All right, I'm not going to say any more about that. 1 Chronicles 20. This is a humdinger. All right, and when you read the commentators, I mean, there's a mountain of material on this. All right, I'm going to get it done here in just a few minutes. If you want to read more about it, I mean, have at it. But and then it says this in verse 4. From verse 4 to verse 8, we have these battles with Philistine giants. And it says this verse in verse 4, and it came to pass after this that there arose war at Gezer with the Philistines. And as I said before, the Philistines are the preeminent enemy of Israel. All right, so there's war again with them. At which time Sibbechai, the Hushanite, slew Sippai, that was of the children of the giant, and they were subdued. So here you have this man fighting for Israel. His name is Sibbechai or Kai, the Hushathite, okay? Because David's got all kinds of guys fighting for him, all right? He's got, when he starts off, remember when he's running from Saul, he's got this motley crew that are people that couldn't pay their taxes and people that had been oppressed by the government, and they all rallied around David, okay? It's almost like, in the movies, what you talk about, Robin Hood, everybody that's lost their property to, King John, Prince John, and they got to all run out into Sherwood Forest, and David's going to organize them. Okay, that's the idea here back then. But here's a guy that's not Israeli, but he kills the giant. And then you have verse 5, and there was again a war again with the Philistines. Okay, they're still after it. And Elhanan, the son of Jair, slew Lahmi, the brother of Goliath, the Gittite. Now, we already got Goliath dead. This is his brother, and it says it specifically here in 1 Chronicles 20, the Lahmi, the brother of Goliath, the Gittite. Okay, that is who is killed. So there's some question about the way it reads back in Second Samuel, but here it's very clear. Okay, the guy is the brother of Goliath. I mean, this guy, he's a giant too, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam, and that's what we read about his brother Goliath. All right, so the family of Goliath are just huge men, these giants, and he kills him. Slew Lami, the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam. It was huge. So that's the second conflict with giants that are Philistines. And then verse 6. And yet again there was war at Gath, which is one of the capital cities or major cities of the five of the Philistine Empire. A war there again. And here's the story. Where was a man of great stature, another giant, with whose fingers and toes were 4 and 20. 4 and 20. That is, he has 6 on each hand. 6 on each hand and 6 on each foot. And he was of the son of the giant. So you have this guy that's got 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot, and he is a giant, and this is a Philistine, and they're at Gath again. And then we read this. And when he defied Israel, sounds like Goliath. 40 days he came out to defy. I defied the armies of the living God. These giants, Philistine giants, I mean, they were tough. The point is here, who's going to go up against these guys? They're not giants. And if we want to speak of it in spiritual terms, the opposition out there is much stronger than you are. But in the strength of the Lord, you can overcome it. You can't overcome it in your own strength because it's a giant out there. All right. David went forth in the name of the Lord. All right. It wasn't that he didn't prepare himself with the sling and hadn't already killed a lion and a bear. But the idea is that he comes in the power of God and kills the giant. Same thing is true of us. The giant is there. And as a military force, I mean, he comes out and defies everybody because he knows nobody can take him. But in the power of God, you can. That's the point. In the power of God, a smaller, weaker force or man or tradition of faith that we practice can defeat the onslaught, the giant of the world system out there. That is the point. You can win the day. And that's what we're reading here. I mean, by way of an Old Testament illustration. So when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimea, David's brother. So this is one of David's nephews. This is his brother's son. All right. Another nephew. All right. Goes out and meets this giant, which tells me so much about these guys. It's like they relish this. They know they're putting their lives at stake, but because of their skill sets and the courage they possess, and that they're always in battle. I mean, they have been tested over and over. They know what victory feels like, and the Lord's blessed them. They know what it's about, and they know that guy's defying the armies of the living God, just like the Goliath did to Uncle David back when he was still, before he was the king. That's what he's saying here. The same thing happened to Uncle David back at the beginning here, before he was king, and now he's out, and now David's nephew says, "I'll take care of this." He said, when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimea, David's brother, slew him. And it doesn't tell us anymore. But you have the death of 3 giants here in a row. I mean, in this passage of men that probably always had their way with everyone. They're giants. Okay, it doesn't tell them how big they are, but we can measure when we talk about, Goliath, like 10 feet tall. I mean, he's huge. He's a giant. I mean, he's massive, the way he's described. And then it says this, verse 8, these were born unto the giant in Gath. That is, this is a family tradition. I mean, huge men. And they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. All right, from Goliath all the way through here, David and his servants are the ones that wiped out the Philistine family of giants. All right, so that is 1 Chronicles chapter 20, and I'm going to be done here in I'll be done under 15 minutes. All right, so that's 1 Chronicles 20, and I'm finding people are telling me they're finding these devotions, because they'll find something. Then if you look through my website there, it would have been Providence Baptist Church Manassas, And then Peter Van Cleek Ministries. But when you look on there, there's 311 YouTube videos that go all the way from Genesis all the way to right here in First Chronicles chapter 20. Now they're not sequential because of the way where I started. I started in Genesis chapter 12 with the Abrahamic covenant, and then I was out for 6 months because of being in the hospital. But there's a lot of stuff. Plus, um, Sunday morning messages, which were at least an hour, they're long, cover all kinds of stuff. So there's a mountain of material here. I just thank the Lord that I have the strength and energy, and that He kept me alive to keep doing this. But if this is of value for it, make use of it. That's the whole idea. Make use of it. Share it with others. That'd be really good. So okay. Well, the Lord bless you. You have a great day. And Lord willing, I'll see everybody tomorrow. Okay, we'll see you. Bye.